And he's very intentional about changing the health sector, helping people to realize how important menstruation is. He has even received recognition from President Biden himself because of his passion, right, to make impact in the global and public health space. Dr. Gbujie has extensive academic background, which includes degrees in public health, in global health, and an MBA, right? And today he's going to be talking about menstrual health challenges. So please let's give him the floor. Thank you.
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who has joined. First and foremost, I want to thank the founder of Boluzo and all the developmental partners that have made this possible. I think this is the discussion we should be having as young people. I think we should stand bold to tell people that we have to be different from our fathers. Our fathers and our mothers have done what they can do, and this is what they've given to us. It's time we take it a little bit much better, much different. It's time we work together, as Africans. Also, in my capacity, I also work with the African Union Youth Envoy as one of the coordinators here in the United States or in diaspora for young people. And what we see is remarkable. Even after the UN General Assembly, I can assure you that the Africans that you have here are almost resonating on that level at all levels. We want to be different. We do not want to live in silos. We want to work together. We want to inspire one another. So I know you are going to have wonderful time hearing how people articulate their thoughts on issues that have been put at the back burner and why we should be bringing in the girl child, women, or supporting them in such a way that they are able to become ambassadors and catalysts. So that's just a little preamble. Let me go into the main issue why we are here. So over time, people have not realized that we cannot develop as a nation, we cannot develop as a people, we cannot develop as a continent if half the population of each of these various nationalities are not factored, are not planned for, are not intentionally supported. And that's where the story of menstrual health, that's where the story of the menstrual health challenges comes in place. Menstrual health is not about the personal or the biomedical changes that takes place in an individual. It's about the vision that this individual is a portal or is a pathway to bringing progress, to bringing life, to sustaining existence. If something is the corridor or a pathway for your prosperity, why do you think you need to block that pathway? Why do you think you need to create barriers? And you believe very well that once you block the pathway, once you, like they say, give them the silent treatment, once you make their reality much harder for them, you just assume that everything will get well. Sadly, that's not science. Sadly, it doesn't work. All society that have actively engaged in ensuring that the menstrual health in context, reproductive health in the bigger spectrum are factored into national development have all progressed. So menstrual health is not just about the physical, it also has a mental health component of it. And it also has a society well-being component of it. And it has some micro elements that directly impact the health, directly impact education, directly impact societal development and our vision to achieve the sustainable development goal. So if you have a natural process that is naturally healthy, but the problem is that when it comes in contact with cultures that do not support advancement, inclusion, equality and equity, that process that is natural becomes even a health risk for members of the society. By members of the society, I mean for the girl child and for the woman. And that in itself even has a larger implication in the society. So mental health must be seen for what it is, and it's important that those of us in the global south, by global south, those of us in emerging economies and developing economies, especially young image changers like me and you, need to understand where the sciences are and how we can intervene at every point. So broadly, there are four major challenges that boxes menstrual health. These four major challenges have many other micro elements, but they are broadly divided into them, and most of our speakers will definitely highlight them. One of note is the access to clean menstrual products or the services that are associated with it. Another is the right knowledge and understanding of menstrual health and how it affects you, how it affects your family, how it affects the society. So over the last 60 years of my country's independence, they've always seen a woman's health as her thing, and then the science tells us that a woman's health is not just her thing. If she's the pathway to bringing development for you, if she's the pathway to electing a president, if she's the pathway to breaking the circle of poverty, whatever impacts on her and slows her down from being fully emancipated must always be a national strategy, or must always be legalized, or must always be supported. So in Africa, for most of us who are Africans, we know clearly that when you discuss about menstrual health or menstrual periods, it's always a no-no area. And that's because the ancestors that came before us saw it as something that is bizarre because of their level of education. But now we are in an era of digital knowledge, an era of immense information, different from our fathers. And yet some people still want to box themselves, in the age where development was stifled, where progress was still crude. Whereas we are seeing a reality where there's an opportunity for us to empower the girl child. There's an opportunity for us to give her some sense of dignity. If you do not dignify a human being, you're not prepared for nationhood. You're not. As long as any African country do not respect the need and meet the desire of every individual, whether it's group, whether it's those that are physically challenged, whether it's male, whether it's female, as long as a government, or as long as a group, as long as a race of people do not respect the dignity of each individual, do not come to your aid when life's challenge, when natural challenges creates an untoward effect on you, you can't progress. So most of the challenges we have, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Cameroon, whether it's Mali, whether it's Equatorial Guinea, most of the challenges we have with sustainable development goal are often because we exclude a large percentage of people from the discussion. We exclude a large percentage of people from contributing to economic development. And we do that because issues that matter to them are, are lost in transit, or are pushed behind the back door, or are given, an ethno-religious or a cultural connotation. And all of these shouldn't just happen. So the challenges we now therefore have are very glaring. One, if we're able to improve on the availability of products, like the tampon, the sanitary pad, the absorbent pad, if we're able to improve on this product, if we're able to place it where the young girl's formative years, the years she needs to be able to make sense of her journey, to be able to inform herself on choosing the right partners, to be able to reach her full potential where she can contribute to economic prosperity. She can impact on her family, her local family, and give them a sense of belonging. She can advise the male child well on how to run his business. If we are able to help them be able to move forward and see that transition in their natural physiological changes more efficiently, we will be building a nation, or we will be building a race of Africans who can do well. And we understand that there is a research and science around this, that nations that have not evolved and developed, that do not take cognizance of the girl child and the challenges the girl child faces, especially in light of, you know, reproductive health, especially in in the terms of menstrual health, especially in the terms of menstrual health impacting on them staying away from schools, staying away from how they can develop their brain cell. They're always tracking behind, you know. All those things do not empower her to be in the tech space, does not empower her to be even in the leading political space. Because for you to be in a tech space, or for you to get into the workforce, some level of education is required, some level of intellect are required, and those things are gotten in the formative years. Sadly, it is in those formative years that the girl child has a lot of issues. Even beyond even the formative years, many of us are also working, and we also have those challenges. And developing nations understand that if you want to improve the economy of your country, you want to develop, you want to destroy the circle of poverty, you must begin to see a large percentage of your population, which is the girl child or women, you must begin to invest in their needs. Investing in their needs empowers them, put them in a space to make informed decisions, to pick right partners, put them in a stage to bring something to the table, which seems to be like the normal norm. What do you bring to the table? You cannot bring anything to the table. No girl can bring anything to the table when you've never invested on them. It is very sad. It's just common sense. You did not invest on them. All of a sudden, you want them miraculous. You did not develop the content around your education system so that they understand how to make informed decisions, but you want everything from them. And thirdly, most of all the governance structure are in the hands of men. So it is the same men that have put us where we are, just because half of the population for all countries are being neglected, or their needs are not being met. So it's a dilemma for us, but there are solutions. The solution, therefore, is one thing Boluzo is doing, Yale organization are doing. We need to talk about this. We need to just stop for once and say, I want to be better than my father and my mother, who kept quiet in their own space based on their own reality. But the circumstance now dictates that we should fight for equity. We should ensure that we provide, you know, as many services that we can. We can even organize ourselves as young people and say, oh, there's this sanitary pad donation bin in every local government in the area for some of the wealthy young ladies who are doing well in banks. We have these special bins. You don't need to go there. You could send your drivers to go and drop the bins there, you know. And any of the girls who feel that they are having their period or about to have their period can go in there, you know, clock in their names and get the bin and go. We just have to be creative. You can go and meet Okonjo-Iweala, WTO, and say, ma, we as young girls or young professionals, we want to supply a billion sanitary pad over the next 1 month to all the 55 African countries. However, to do this has a bit of logistics. We have receptacles that store them, and all people need to do is put in your bio data, it scans your face, and it gives you the part. So we need to be very innovative. And for the young men, and for the young boys, you must see your sisters, your girlfriends, your wife, your friends, your colleagues who are women as agents to advance and to inspire you to be much better. And any of their health issues or anything that sets them back, especially the natural processes, we must always come to their aid. We should not tease them. We should not embarrass anyone. If at all you as a young man want to be prosperous, it's a collaboration with your partner that only you will be prosperous in a modern time like this, when we have global recession across board. It doesn't make sense. Even the science is that when you work together, that the level of impact that you can make is much massive. So if we have 100 doctors to treat 10 people, those people will get the best of treatment. That's the power of collaboration. But if you have one doctor to treat 100 people, he may not even finish for the entire day. The main thing for us now is we should return to become better versions of our ancestors, that it's time we stop dancing on TikTok. It's time we start addressing issues. Young ladies need to band together. This is not the time to be doing cat fight. It's time for us to help ourselves. It's time for us to support legislative backing that puts non-taxable levies on menstrual period, because things are very tough in my country now, in Nigeria. Yes, I'm in the US, but it's very tough. To buy a sanitary pad is thousands of naira. If you're going to keep it for 1 year, for 13 cycles that you're going to have per year, if you're going to do that, and many people in their lifetime will have close to about 450 periods, on just the average. So if you're going to have that and you're spending thousands of the local currency, and your family are not too wealthy, it becomes a challenge for you. So government can place remove tax levies on all this menstrual period, because many of them, even in my country, come from outside the country. And like in Senegal, UNICEF is helping Senegalese government and some local actors, in Malik. Malik is a central region in Senegal to locally source for all these products. In conclusion, all I would just say is that for every young girl who is listening to me, I understand it's a very tough time for every one of us. We've been born into a culture that do not allow us to challenge existing system, do not fully explain to us, what is expected of us. We on ourselves have been able to brave out and make sense of our journey in life. It's not the end of the world, and it's time for young girls in West Africa, in South Africa, in North Africa to band together, have creative ideas on how to address simple issues like providing absorbent pad in a hygienic way, supporting one another, even doing public campaign as often as possible, going to primary school, secondary school, even university, clapping for one another, even you having extra pad in your bags when you go to school, because we know almost every moment, 800 million people every day will all over the world will have some. Those things can save life. You save life not only when you give money, but when you intentionally show that humanity can be expressed. And to our leaders who are listening, because I know we're streaming on social platform, see, young people, especially Africans, like me, we're not after your job. We just don't want to continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. We want our girlfriends, our wives, our sisters, our cousins, our nieces, we want them included. Anything that affects them, their unmet need, we want you to help them. It is a gain for us to have women who are fully empowered. When we get married, we bring more wealth into the family. Then more wealth into the family means more well-being. More well-being means more prosperity. More prosperity means good health. Good health means better society. Excluding the half of the population will not allow you to develop the entire country. So on that note, I want to wish everyone happy International Girl Day. I want to thank our moderator, Beta. I want to thank our leader, Blessing Nwachukwu, and the Boluzo staffs and all our speakers here. I understand fully well what is expected of us as young people. I totally support, and I'm gladly will be an ambassador to drive that across board. And we know that the African Union Youth Envoy supports all these kinds of initiatives. Sometime in December, we'll be having some events, and we will be bringing some staffs of Boluzo, maybe Better, and any other person here to the US for a diaspora youth summit. And some of all these issues that affect us will be brought in view. Please start thinking of creative ideas. Some I've just suggested on how we can, address menstrual health. Menstrual health is synonymous to development of growth for the nation, is synonymous to breaking the circle of influence, is synonymous to empowering our young girl child. Empowering them is empowering yourself. You are not doing a disservice when you educate the girl child. Rather, you are reducing radicalization, terrorism, less rapists will be there, less ritual killers, less fraudulent people will exist. Then you have more sane people that will be judges. Fairness will take place because no girl child prioritize buying bombs, buying guns. They want to nurture. That's their natural instinct, is to nurture, is to be a corridor for progress. These are natural things. Our men are wired for leadership, brute force. And then once you have somebody who has the corridor for progress and development and is backed by our men who have the ability to push it much further, that's how the society grows. Society like Switzerland have done it. They are doing very well. You're not hearing any noise about them. United States, menstrual pads are in almost every public schools. In short, in the city of Minnesota, you could go to jail as a principal if you don't even have that. Whether they use it or whether they don't use it or whether the girl child is of age or whether it is not of age, it's always there. And this can always happen, in all of our African countries, if we can prioritize, if we can elect right people, if young girls like you can come out and take elective positions, young girls like you come out with creative ideas that can help expand the world. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to hearing wonderful things from this event. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Chibubem. That was so profound. That was so insightful. I was honestly stirred up. I believe that myself and the audience were stirred up by your profound, knowledge about menstruation. And I'm so happy. I'm so glad that we got to have you on this conference. One thing you said that really stood out to me is where you said you save lives not just by giving money, but by expressing humanity, right? And we can apply this to men. You said something that instead of mocking or teasing women when they are going through phases in life, men have been wired to lead, right? And we know that one of the aspects of leadership is humility. To be truly humble, you have to be ready to serve. So if the female child is going through a particular process, you have to be there to cheer her up, right? Because she is a channel, right, for progress. You also said, oh my God, there were so many profound things that you said, how, menstrual health hygiene is not just about one person. It affects the economy of a nation. If we can empower the female child, we can, empower the nation. The nation is going to thrive economically because, she can go into the tech space. She can do what she's meant to do. She can empower, be just a powerhouse for the nation and just do so many wonderful things. And he also said how menstrual health is synonymous to the growth of a nation, which I honestly agree. I've been in scenarios where, personally, menstrual hygiene and menstruation on its own has limited certain aspects when it came to my career. And, I would honestly just wish that the male counterpart sometimes would actually get it instead of teasing and mocking and just saying, suck it up, because it is a lot. And thank you so, so much. That was so profound. You also talked about tax levies and how it's important for us as young girls to come together to make, solutions to this because it's so expensive. The prices of sanitary kits is off the roof right now in Nigeria. You said 1,000 naira is 2,100 naira last I checked. Yes, for the very good pads is 2,000 plus. If you want a pad that you won't get stained, you won't get mocked, that, you know, because some girls are very, very heavy, right? It's 2,100 naira. Let's not even talk about water, about hand sanitizers in case there's no water in your toilet. A lot of things, and it's just a lot that we have to come. This is why we're having this conference. This just shows how important. Someone even said 2,500 is ridiculous. So this is why we are having this conference, and it's so, so important. You know, we're here to brainstorm and bring out solutions to menstrual hygiene challenges. So moving on to the next part of the agenda.